moving into the reserve because they could qualify. And then the
Right,
one lady
right.
said, and then I'll have some extra money that if I want to go out to a restaurant in the evening, I can once in a while instead of watching.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the Village Council meeting of Monday, is it May 8th, 2017. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Present.
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez and Mayor Maloney.
Here. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have in your packets this evening a draft of the minutes from our last meeting on April 24th. Any questions, comments? If not, I would seek a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Walters?
Yes.
Commissioner Polk?
Yep.
Mayor Maloney?
Yes. Presentation updating the status of the Oak Lawn Regional Water System improvements. A few weeks ago, local mayors and staff of the municipalities that come off the Oak Lawn Regional Water System met regarding these improvements, which is a major project with the Oak Lawn Regional Water System that's been in the planning stages for many years. And Village Manager Rick Boehm will report on some of the information that we received and some of the discussion that was had at that meeting.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kind of the purpose of the update is to provide an overall project, the purpose of the project, the status of the project, kind of explain some of the costs involved in the project and scope changes that have occurred along the way, and kind of discuss at the end a direction to continue on with this project. Municipal customers on the regional water system include Oak Lawn, Chicago Ridge, Palos Hills, Palos Park, Oak Forest, Orland Park, Tinley Park, Mokina, New Lenox. On the southeast side of the system are the communities of Country Club Hills, Madison, and Olympia Fields. A little history of the system started being designed for an upgrade. There's two major events, 2005 drought and a 2008 high flow year. Found that the existing system was extremely stressed. There was a lot of concerns brought up at that time. A master plan was developed in 2008, 2009, at which time all customer communities, those I've listed, provided some input into this. There were several infrastructure deficiencies identified, and the 2030 Illinois Department of Natural Resources flow allocation was the target. That's looking ahead at what all the allocations of the communities are combined, what do we need to supply, and what does the head end of Oak Lawn system need to supply out. In May of 2009, actually in early 2009, resolutions were collected from the Southwest customer communities. Palos Park's resolution was 2009 R03, which was March 9th, 2009. I'm going to run through real quick if I can. And because I don't have a pointer, I'm going to just, for the purposes real quick, if I identify, and once I do this, I hopefully everybody will see. Basically, you're starting up here at the City of Chicago, going into either Wright Complex or Harker. Wright, as you follow the lines, goes out to Palos Hills, Palos Park, and serves Oak Lawn, and then out to us. Harker Complex generally serves Chicago Ridge and the southern communities. It also feeds back in through Oak Lawn and back out to the other communities. So as you can see, it's a pretty large system. This is the main that comes out. Most systems, it's a 48-inch main coming under the Calsac channel. So from there, we're going to discuss. I'm going to just flip through. Go back one. Okay. Part of the problems are ensure lack of redundancy, inadequate capacity, no electrical standby power, and that 48-inch line is a 50-year-old pipe that's had multiple breaks. The original planned improvements, let me load this up, too far, include adding pressure zones at the one pump station. It's new spurs specific to Palos Park and to Palos Hills. Currently, we do come through the Palos Hills system. So this off the new 60-inch transmission main, Village of Palos Park would get service. Crosstown connection on the lower part of the screen actually goes back in towards Oak Forest, which would then connect into the 48-inch main. Some of the program benefits, the 2030 capacity, making facility improvements to the booster stations, the pumping stations, the main pumping stations, backup power. Palos Park, again, would get served directly from the 60-inch main instead of the 10-inch main we have coming out of the Palos Hills system currently. Provides redundancy and also adds an asset management plan, looking at all the assets in the system, what serves all the communities, and how we can plan for the future of those assets, maintenance-wise and replacement. Original project cost was $171 million. That was developed at a time about 10% engineering was completed. The engineers are under contract with the Village of Oak Lawn to look at this whole system and figure this out. There's quite a few steps in here. Let me go through this and I'll load this up. So there's a lot of projects that are going on in here. There's some, the Reich pumping station, the Harker complex, building these 60-inch mains. They need to cross over not only through Forest Preserve property, ComEd right-of-way, but also across some major streets, such as Cicero Avenue, Central, and the like. They have to avoid the bridge on Ridgeland and near Ridgeland on Southwest Highway. So there's some big numbers in here, but this is to loop the system and keep it going. So Chicago pump improvements, there's a contingency in there if they have to make improvements there as well. In all these, as you see, BP, that's for bid package. These are all different bid packages as how they've laid them out to be let out and bid and constructed. Some of the bid packages are town-specific, such as bid package 7B, all the way down to the bottom left is Orland Park specific. The one up for Palos Hills is Palos Hills specific. Current project estimate is about $216 million. Pretty good price jump. And that's what got the towns a little concerned of where this was going. As I said before, there was about 10% engineering done in the beginning when the first estimate was built. There's been a lot more information, obviously, that was gathered as to what these costs will be. Some of them, there's been an increase of about $3.9 million at Reich, about $1.9 at Harker. The transmission main bid package 4A up there is showing at $26.1 million. Is about 5.6 over the original estimate. Bid package 4A is kind of where we stopped everything and try to regroup as how we're going to proceed. Concern was bid package 4A. When it was added to the previously bid packages, it seemed to go over what was being planned for. It goes over the contingency. Customer would require an executive consent, which are basically the managers of the communities. None of the managers really wanted to give this executive consent to keep this going without digging into the project a little more deeply, finding out some answers to things, and bringing it ultimately back to our boards. Bid package 4A is now waiting. It's at an impasse right now until we make all these presentations and the customers drive this a little bit more. Give you a little original versus program schedule. Basically on the facilities design, actually ahead of schedule. On the facilities construction, those are the main plants that we were updating. They're ahead of schedule. Transmission main design is a little bit ahead of schedule, but it's falling behind. It's the transmission main construction. That's where the delay is at. And most of that is due to, the IDOT delays, Forest Preserve District of Cook County approval delays, and so forth. Some of the costs, I'm going to run through these fairly quickly, they've gone up. We've had cost increases and escalation. There's delays of about 35 months. Forest Preserve of Cook County wants some restoration process. That adds, a few years onto that, and that's basically making sure it grows back the way it's planned. Scope changes, tunneling to avoid wetlands, alignment changes to avoid IDOT bridge, and so forth. We had a small alignment change, but that was part of the overall system design change. Soil contamination found after a field investigation. Engineering is a percent of construction. They extended the duration of the process. We're going to have some more engineering costs. Traffic control, no more traffic control is being required because we do have some IDOT and Cook County roads we're crossing. They were unplanned. They thought they could maybe open cut some of it. They thought they'd have to dig under some of it, but there's in negotiations with these agencies, they found they needed more. Sewer lining and relocating the sewers to meet IEPA requirements. I started telling you before. There were some problems that were noticed back in December of 2015. Some of the all the towns at the table started asking a lot of questions. Getting information on the engineers, getting information to bring it to this point has not been exactly forthcoming until more recently. In July of this year, the original bid package 4A was rejected by the group of managers. I think there was one dissenting vote, and that being the Village of Oak Lawn. They asked to rebid. Actually, in this one, Oak Lawn did voted to rebid the whole thing. It was $6.2 million. The original bid was $6.2 million over the original bid cost. It was brought down after that, but it still was over budget. What do we want to do now? The customer communities have, all of them have retained Christopher Burke Engineering to review and do a peer review of the engineering to date to advise and find better ways to construct this, bring engineering costs down, and they've been successful to date. This is a good team. All the towns agreed that this was a good peer type review, and that's what we're going to stay with through the duration of the project. Finally, we did schedule the mayor's meeting, as Mayor Mahoney spoke about, to provide an update and obtain guidance from the group going forward. Part of the group's decision was to bring it to every town, make sure everybody knows about it. Effect on water users. Now, we are going through our own study of water rates. Palos Park, so I asterisked that part of it. Now, water rates on the new versus the old, this is based on an annual bill of what a resident could see using about 8,000 gallons per month. And it ranges from a low of $2.72 in Chicago Ridge to high overage on almost $33 in New Lenox. We fall towards the high end. But as you can see, that is based on some estimates on where the project is going from the $171 million to the $216 million. So going forward, part of it again is to present to the boards, make sure everybody's on the same page, has the same information. We're looking as customer communities to get more control on the bidding process, the engineering, have answers provided to us on a more timely basis, have the peer review done on many of these aspects to try to bring costs down, bring value engineering into the process. We also want to have some oversight on any change orders and the like. So that's kind of what we're putting together a list that we hope that all the customer communities in the Village of Oak Lawn will agree to as a standard practice going forward. So that kind of concludes the report. Just want to make sure that we are moving forward with this project. I think there's a lot of benefits to the Village of Palos Park. Those benefits include, as I said, the coming off the 60-inch main, having the water capacity coming through there, the redundancy factor of the entire system. If there needs to be repairs in the future, we're not going to be tied to one area of the pipe. It's, I think somebody said it best at the mayor's meeting. All of our communities have redundancies. We have looped systems. So if there's a break one place, you can valve off and you can direct water from another area. This system does not have that. We don't have that luxury. If there's breaks in there, we can be cut off from water. So the plan is very solid. It provides a lot of redundancy. It provides a very good loop system, along with many other improvements, but there is a cost to it. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, either myself or Mike Sabrava can attempt to answer.
I do have one question on going forward with the, I forget what you called your manager group, community, customer.
Customer communities.
Yeah. The approval of change orders and the bid packages, what percentage of you managers have to vote in favor of it? Is it a majority? Is it 2/3? What is it?
It's 51%.
Okay.
Yeah, and so far the managers of the other communities outside the village of Oak Lawn have stayed together. And the intent is, and not saying Oak Lawn doesn't, but they've been letting the contracts, they've been looking at this from their perspective. We're looking at it from ours, and there's a lot of different perspectives. Most of us involved here weren't involved when it was first envisioned, this project was first envisioned. We've come to speed more over the last year or two. So we're going to stay together. There's strength in our numbers. We want to make sure this project is done, but then done correctly with some cost controls. We do understand that the original estimate was probably low because there wasn't enough engineering done to get more accurate pricing. But we think we can do better.
And the one other thing, it's not a question, it's more of just a reiteration and make sure everyone understands. The main that is serving Palos Park now is 10 inches, and we are going to increase it to a 60-inch main, correct?
That's correct.
And one of the fears, because of the age of that existing pipe that's coming over here, is if it were to crack under the CalSag, how long we might be without water because there isn't a redundancy to the system, let alone the difficulty of repairing or excising a portion and replacing it or anything of that nature. Am I remembering this correctly?
Well,
as I say it?
sort of, and let me
Okay.
back up because I did answer your one question. We will be coming off of a 60-inch, we will be coming off a 60-inch main, but what will serve our pumping station will be somewhat less than that. We will have, there's an option bid in there to increase our pipe size, making that connection, but in essence, we are connected to a very large transmission main. The one under CalSag, that doesn't come into play until we're all looped and figured in. Right now, we are coming literally through the Palos Hills system. So it has to get through their system to get to us. Not exactly a good way to do it. Most of the storage on that end of our end of the other end of our pumping station, our storage, is all the water stored in Oak Lawn. So it has to come a long way to get to us.
Thank you. No, I just want to say thank you.
I've not been around, so I'm just kind of playing catch up. And for Homeland Security reasons, I'm not going to ask a bunch of specific questions. Mine will be generic in nature, okay? We've got a 60-inch transmission line from Oak Lawn, show me the bunch of other communities down the line. We're spurred off of that 60-inch as proposed.
Right.
The 60-inch goes out. We got no water. The water that we have will be that which is stored in our storage capacity.
No, they'll loop it literally to attach it. There's an existing 48-inch pipe that goes to the far south suburbs now. That 60-inch and 48-inch will be connected. So now if the 60-inch goes out, we get water backfed through the 48-inch, which we can't get now.
Okay, so it's not like the 48 is going to go out of existence.
No.
It will act as a redundant to the 60.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what I needed to hear. I'm good, thank you.
So are we being asked to approve this now, or is this just for information purposes?
More from information at this point, and I just want to make sure that we still want to continue going down this road. We are under contract to move on the system. I think all the towns want to make sure that their boards are at least comfortable moving forward with this information, knowing that we are going to do our best to put new management tools in place to keep an eye on this project better than it was, and bring more reports back to you, periodic reports.
But let's be honest, okay? I mean, let's not try and sugarcoat this. We either stick with a system that's falling apart, we get something that's better than the old system. The ultimate driver is going to be how much it's going to cost. I mean, in simplest terms.
Very simple terms, that's correct.
So either we're going to pay now, or we're going to pay later, one of the two.
I think the benefits the benefits to Palos Park are many, and a continuous operation of our water system is very important.
I get that. I don't have to write a check every other month to benefits. I got to write a check to somebody to pay for the infrastructure that's getting water to me. So at the end of the day, what we're telling folks is in order to upgrade the system, there is a cost associated with that. What that cost is, we don't know. But we will endeavor to the best of our abilities to make sure that the cost is reasonable and it's not overblown so that we all don't get hosed. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Okay, I'm good.
I have a question relating to the water rate study, and that is, there's a slide up there that showed an annual cost of 126 plus an additional cost resulting from the overrun. The question I have is whether the initial cost has been factored into our water rate study. So none of this.
It will be in the new study.
It will be in the new study, but
It's not
none of
factored
this
into
expansion. It's been since like 2007 since our last water rate study, before really we adopted this plan. Okay. So just want to give, in case people were questioning, hey, how much is this going to impact me? The annual costs being in the $150 a year range. When, that's significant, over 10%, closer to 20% type of increase in our water bill because of this one. But we'll know more. Obviously, that's something that's going to figure into our water rate study. But
Can you put that slide up again? I'm sorry. I really didn't want to do this.
One of the things that, and again, Mike, you might be able to remind me more accurately, the reason also there's such a huge jump, besides the fact that, all this has to be done, is that there wasn't there wasn't a rate increase for almost 20 years from Oak Lawn to us,
Right.
previous to this all developing. So had it been incrementally over 20 years, you wouldn't feel the effect quite as.
The current rate increases that we've suffered, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the bulk of that came from the city of Chicago. They're the ones that didn't increase rates for 20 years.
Yeah.
So they literally went up almost 100% in 4 years to cover some of their costs.
And there is absolutely no connection between that truth and the truth that the system has to be upgraded.
right.
So they're independent variables over which we may have some control over the system upgrade, but absolutely no control over what Chicago decides to sell their water for.
Correct.
So that's one point I wanted to make. Second point I wanted to make is, when you first look at this slide, for those of us who pay our bills, you shake your head a little bit. But what's on the slide is not the annual water bill. It's the annual water bill increase above and beyond what the current water bills are projected for either what we ain't going to pay, the original cost, and what we're currently, as of May the 8th, projected to pay. That's not likely to be true either. And then, do we have any idea what kind of multiple we're looking at? I mean, could it be 10 times? Could it be 2 times?
I don't think so, because that cost that they're at now, it was actually higher than that, and we brought it back down. So
Alright.
it's got a lot more control. The other side of it is, we're studying our rates based on what we need to do in our system too.
Sure.
And we would probably consider raising the rates prior to having to pay some of these costs. So maybe we can make a gradual increase
A little
at the
cushion.
beginning, build up our reserve fund so that when these payments are due, we can pay out of the reserve fund rather than making a $158 increase at one time.
So then I have a different question. The process got derailed at bid 4A. How the heck did they pay for 1, 2, and 3?
They did put bonds out for some of that earlier work. Some of it we're partly paying, some of it we're not. I mean, the Harker and Wright plants, we pay part of that. Basically now all we've been paying is interest, because they're getting an EPA loan to repay the bonds.
Okay.
So that's kind of why they're in a hurry, because the sooner they can get some firm numbers, they can get money from the EPA, which is paid back over 20 years, and then our payments are made over those 20 years, and they're amortized over 20 years.
Okay.
And the big numbers, 171, 216, our percentage is based on the amount of water we use, so we only pay about 2%. That's our funding of that. So there's other villages that may use 40%.
Do me a favor, say that again slowly.
Okay. The numbers we've talked about, the 171 and the 216, those are total costs. All the villages, portions of those construction costs are based on the amount of water they use. We're one of the low
Use
end.
as of when?
Well, basically your average use over the last 10 years.
Okay.
And our usage hasn't changed probably much in the last 7 years. We've been pretty steady within 1% of what we take every year. So our total of that cost is around 2%. It's like between 1.8 and 2.2, depending on the southeast communities and when they come into the project.
I'll leave it at there. Thank you.
Do me a favor on a going forward basis. When you have a chart up like this, you need to have a third column, the one that says average water bill at a date, a snapshot. That way we can say, okay, this is what we're paying now as compared to the original cost, as compared to the revised estimated cost.
Yeah, average
That's-
annual water bill.
Maybe
that's something-
We can do that based on, they're using 8,000 as an average user.
Yeah,
So
so
we
if you-
can put up what the bill would be if you used 8,000 gallons of water as a
And
comparison.
please understand that we pay a water and sewer bill, not a
Right.
water bill.
But that's a separate charge,
No,
the sewer
I
part. So
get
we
it.
would- We
Right,
would
we
just
just wanna
kind of
be able
compare
to
the water. in this one.
Compare apples and oranges, and maybe if we can have that for an upcoming meeting that maybe Nicole.
Because when
Miller's
I
Water's
first looked at
coming
this, I
forward.
shook my head. And remember, your bill comes every other month, too.
Correct.
And, we're not casting aspersions.
No, not at all.
It's just for everyone to
I
have a
understand.
real good idea of what it is we're talking about. And transparency is a good thing. So if we know, we can look at it and say, oh, this is what I'm paying today, this is what I may be paying under the original estimate, this is what I'll be paying under the estimated original or the projected new plan. Say, oh, okay, great. Instead of $10, I'll be paying $115 million. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, for most residents, the redundancy and all these figures don't mean much. It's, hey, what am I paying now? What am I gonna pay afterwards?
That's it.
Agreed. Thank you, Mike.
And
Thanks, Rick.
round ballpark figures, because obviously the water rate study is gonna have an impact on that. And these are less exact numbers. So, awesome.
Nice presentation, Mark. Thank you.
Great news I present, huh?
Uh-huh.
Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or have been brought forward at the direction of the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item A, to approve the 60-month proposal for Conica Minolta Business Solutions for 2 BizHub C258 copiers at a cost of $309.41 per month. Item B, to approve payment of invoices on the warrant list dated May 8, 2017, in the amount of $124,174.29. Item C, to approve the supplemental warrant list dated May 8th, 2017, for manual checks, payroll, and recurring wire transfers in the amount of $340,085.55. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Can the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Old business, any items of old business you've got to the council? Nope. Information and updates, Public Works and Streets, Commissioner Milovich Walters.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. I just have a few announcements. Beginning late this week or early next week, NICOR will begin a project in the village to replace approximately 11,000 linear feet of old steel gas main. They will also replace 127 residential services. The work will take place on portions of the following streets: 119th, 85th Avenue, 86th Avenue, 87th Avenue, 88th Avenue, 119th Place, 122nd Place, Southwest Highway, 124th Street, Ridge Avenue, and 89th Avenue. The main replacement will take 4 to 7 weeks and will be done by directional drilling. Holes will be required for connections and utility conflicts. The service replacement will be done once the new main is tested and put in service. The replacement of services will take another 6 weeks. We have maps on the village website under Public Works, NICOR work areas, if you'd like to see more specifically if your neighborhood will be being replaced. But if your service is going to be turned off for any reason, for any period of time, you will be notified ahead of time when that is going to happen. But during this period, it's not happening at that time. So that is about NICOR. And then we have our summer brochure in Village Gazette should have arrived at your home. I know it arrived at mine. So hope you can check out the events and classes that we have coming up and join us for some. Again, the Fine Arts Fair, Love the Park, is coming up. This is a 2-day event on our Village Green, Saturday, May 20th and Sunday, May 21st from noon to 5 p.m. The first day, the 20th, is Art Deco Meets the Road. So there will be more than 25 automobiles on display. There will be voting for People's Choice for the artists as well. We have over 50 artists that will be there. So we'll have art, and then we'll have the vehicles there on Saturday. We also have music going on that day, Spanish guitars at 11, Nova Soul at 1, and the Illinois Philharmonic Orchestra Trio at 3 p.m. There will be food trucks there. So amazing, cool-looking cars that maybe you've never seen before. And then, again, on Sunday, our 50-plus artists will be there again. And we will have music from the Vicki Beck Quintet. We'll also have the Heavenly Harps. Those are presented by Payless Fine Arts. We will have Art and the Family on Sunday. So there will be things to bring your children to of all ages. There will be chalk art, face painting, table painting. I think that means you paint a table, probably a picnic table to be used in the future. The library will have stuff going on. They'll be doing garden stones. We have log cabin art. The McCord Gallery is going to do a family story quilt that they're going to be talking about. There's going to be Frisbee spin art. Art a la carte will be there. There are so many things going on, and we'll have different food trucks there. So you want to come both days. Different music, different activities, and different food. And as far as the art, which is so cool, our second year having more than 50 artists coming to compete, we have jewelry, we have ceramics, photography, and mind you, this stuff is not just for you to view and look at, it is for you to purchase if you want as well. Last year I bought a really cool copper bracelet and made a silk scarf. So there's really cool things that you can do, and then People's Choice, you also get to vote on what is your favorite artist, and it's whatever type of art you like. I'm just looking to see, there's a watercolor, fibers, acrylics, glass, printmaking, mixed media, jewelry making, so many things. So please don't miss out on this really, really fun event. Love the Park, Fine Arts Fair, May 20th and 21st. So join us for that. If you have any questions about it or any of the activities and classes and things that we offer, palespark.org or 671-3760. And those are all my announcements, other than a big thank you to our village arborist, Dan Foster, and his staff for putting on our Arbor Day celebration last Sunday. Thank you to Boy Scout Troop, I think it's 669, and my Girl Scout Troop for presenting the colors that day. Thank you to Cook County Forest Preserve District, sending out a representative from the Little Red Schoolhouse to do the presentation and the crafts with the children. It was a nice turnout. We had some great raffle items, and there are still seedlings in our reception area. They are free. If you'd like to grab a tree to plant in your yard and add to the oxygen making that we do here in Palos Park, that'd be great. And that concludes my report.
Before we leave, if you liked the automobiles last year, these are going to absolutely astonish you. This period in automotive history is really interesting, and there'll be a tour of the cars through the park. So go up on the website, click whatever looks interesting to you, and lo and behold, more information will appear
And where are they going to start this year, do you know?
at the metro station.
Like in the Village Green where they were last year?
No.
Okay.
They drive to the Village Green. That's where they end up at.
Oh, okay.
But they'll be going through the neighborhood.
Okay.
As soon as we get a map, we'll put it up on the website as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Commissioner Reed, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I'm
That
sorry.
was kind of like opposite. Thank you,
Might have been a premature
Commissioner
thank you.
Reed.
You're welcome. I don't know what you're thinking.
I got the words out, I just in the wrong order. But thank you also.
You may not be, let me finish first, then you may say something other than thank you. Anyway, deck and porch safety. The Village of Palos Park reminds homeowners and condominium owners to visually inspect porches, balconies, decks, and similar structures at least twice a year for safety. Residents should check for the following signs of an aging porch: split or rotting wood, loose or missing nails or screws, loose or missing anchors where the porch attaches to a house or building, missing, damaged, or loose support beams and planking, wobbly handrails or guardrails. When building or repairing a porch, residents must also get a building permit from the building department. Our village inspector will then inspect your structure to make sure that it meets the building safety codes. The building department processed 24 permits from the time period of April 19th through May 2nd, resulting in $14,604.27 of permit fees. 16 inspections were completed during the aforementioned time period. The ZBA will not meet on Wednesday, May 10th, as there are no agenda items. And that concludes my report.
Excellent. Public Health and Safety, Commissioner Polk.
Thank you, Mayor. The monthly police activity report, or bi-weekly, 1,162 calls for service, 72 adjudication tickets, an additional 40 traffic tickets, 55 written warnings, an additional 36 verbal warnings, took 13 case reports, arrested 9 adults, fortunately no juveniles, impounded 5 vehicles, 11 senior check performed, an additional 29 citizen assists, and 4 community contact hours. So that's what the Palos Park Police Department has been up to. And then a couple of just quick reminders. So we're coming up to the National Celebration of Police Week, or the National Remembrance of Police Week, or the National Notice of Police Week, whatever you'd like to call it. Communities across the United States come together during Police Week in May to honor and remember law enforcement officers who not only have made the ultimate sacrifice, but their family members, friends, and fellow officers that were left behind. This is a sober reminder of the very real dangers that brave men and women in law enforcement face. Their dedication to protecting our communities, despite the danger, is inspiring and humbling. I'd like to personally encourage all to show appreciation to those who protect and serve. Not many people are willing to wake up in the morning knowing that their job might be the reason that they don't come home at night. Let our commitment to those with whom we share wearing the badge not fade away. This year, the National Police Week takes place next week, Monday, May 15th through Sunday, May 21st. So keep that in your thoughts for us next week, please. Having said that, owe something to the police department in Palos Park? Like to make a donation? I got a suggestion. The Palos Park Police Foundation kicks off their 2017 fundraising efforts this month. This foundation was established in 2010 by the Reverend Lane Hainsley, who then moved to California. Bright guy. He was interested in bringing together business and civic leaders as into an independent nonprofit organization which solely exists to support the Palos Park Police Department in public safety excellence. So this is an incredibly successful, broad-based community nonprofit that raises public awareness as well as money to support the needs of the Palos Park Police Department. The foundation works closely with us in the police department to develop and implement strategies to raise awarenesses and also provide resources that are not readily available through other means. We use these resources for things like community outreach programs, particularly equipment and training that supports Palos Park Police Department operations. So one of the things that we were very interested in was ways to keep the police officers out of the police department. Because oddly enough, very few crimes actually occur inside of the Palos Park Police Department. And so one of the ways that we chose to do that was to try and get as much technology into the cars, into the squad cars as possible. So for example, an officer didn't have to come into the Palos Park Police Department in order to write a report, or in order to look up a piece of data, or in order to run a plate, or in order to do this or that. And I can tell you that without the Palos Park Police Foundation, that would not have worked at all. And they've provided much of the hardware and a fair amount of the training that's gone into us being able to leave our officers in the field where problems actually occur and not have them in the office looking at monitors and TV screens. Another important issue is that ballistic vests, the bulletproof, quote, bulletproof vests that officers wear, have a finite life, whether they've been tested or not. So after a period of time, 5 years, I think?
5 years.
After 5 years, that vest is no longer considered protected. And the vests range in cost in the thousands of dollars. And so that's a rather large burden for the Palos Park Police Department to have to bear over a course of a period of time. And the Palos Park Police Foundation has been an incredible resource for us to be able to use some of the money that's donated literally to save an officer's back, that's or front. So there's lots of examples like that, but a couple of things I want to remind you about. So this is a completely nonprofit organization that's run by volunteers. Ex-Palos Park Police Commissioner Carolyn Baca, ex-mayor, ex a lot of things, but now Citizen Baca is the chair of that group, and everybody else donates their time, so that the amount of money that's diverted from non-Palos Park Police Department needs is infinitesimally small. I think they have to pay for stamps in the fundraising effort. So you can rest assured that money that is donated, that you donate, that comes out of your pocket, stays in Palos Park. That's not true with any of the other police fundraising organizations that are around. Not to say they don't deserve your support, but if you would like your money to stay in Palos Park and serve the community that we live in, this is the safest, best way to achieve that goal. So again, Palos Park Police Foundation, I know they have a Facebook site. We can give you information at the Palos Park Police Department if you call us during normal business hours. If you Google Palos Park Police Foundation, something will pop up. But I'd like to have you consider supporting their 2017 fundraising efforts. And then we also try and support a variety of different community charities, and one of our favorites is the Special Olympics. We've done lots of fundraising for Special Olympics, and there's another one coming up Friday, May 19th, the Dunkin' Donuts Cop on a Rooftop event is scheduled at 5 in the morning till noon in the afternoon. So one of us, sometimes me, sometimes Joe, sometimes officers, sometimes Mayor Mahoney, will be on top of the Dunkin' Donuts at the, more or less, it's just south of the Walgreens, on the east side of LaGrange Road, just north of 131st. Come on by. Dunkin' Donuts usually contributes some goodies for people, so free donut coupons are available. If you donate some money, $10 gets you a Torch Run travel mug while supplies last. And then we also will be offering t-shirts and hats. So again, the Cop on Top fundraiser, a week from Friday, May the 19th.
And it'll be at both of our Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
Okay.
That
We
is-
can't get on the roof with the way the building is designed. We can't get on the roof of Route 83 and Southwest Highway.
That's right. So if you really want to come and see the Cop on
We
Top,
could get on the roof,
but you couldn't move very
there might be safety issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so sure there are not safety issues at the one on,
Well, there's definitely for you and me.
yeah,
It's probably
Unless-
nonsensical, but I still enjoy it.
that ladder is something else.
Yeah.
Anything else you care to add, Chief Miller?
No.
All right. And that concludes my report.
Thank you kindly. I have no report this evening. Clerk Aragoni.
Council
I
Finance?
have,
Oh, we got, oh,
Council Finances?
yes, Accounts and Finances. Was there anything for the Accounts and Finances this evening?
no.
None, so we'll move to the clerk's report.
Okay. The Secretary of State Mobile Driver Services Facility is coming to Palos Park Village Hall on Tuesday, May 23rd from 10 to 2. This building right here. The following services will be provided: driver's license renewal, duplicate license, corrected license, vision screening, and vehicle sticker sales. To renew your current Illinois driver's license or ID, a valid driver's license or ID card must be presented. To apply for a duplicate or corrected driver's license or ID, 2 forms of identification are required. This doesn't only include Palos Park, any resident can attend that day. The mobile facility can renew licenses and ID cards up to 1 year in advance. Anyone over the age of 65 and persons with disabilities can obtain a free state ID, otherwise standard fees apply. The only service that they cannot do is a road test. So if you're over 75, unfortunately, we can't help you because you do need to have a driver's test once a year. So that's, hopefully will work for us, okay? And I just wanted to mention that Women's Club is going to be at the art fair, and our booth is called Candyland.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to be selling about 18 different kinds of candy. So the way it's going to work, we'll just have all the candy set out, we'll give you a bag, as much as you can fit in there. So we hope to raise funds, and actually we'd like to support our police department, so we encourage everybody to come out and buy lots of candy from us. That'll work just fine for us.
Awesome. And it's good for local area dentists.
There were a lot of positive things about selling candy. No, and that's-
Thank you.
Everybody?
Manager Bain.
Just a couple updates on our area construction for the IDOT projects of 123rd Street between LaGrange and Harlem Avenue. Work's already being done. They're expecting to scarify, in other words, strip off the top layer of the asphalt, maybe starting as early as Thursday of this week. Following that, they'll be doing some patching, and then finally putting down surface. It's still going to be several weeks, but there's still going to be a lot of activity on 123rd Street in that area for construction, so beware, and there could be delays. The area of 123rd Street and McCarthy Road to the west of LaGrange Road, between there and Archer, is going to be reconstructed. There's an IDOT letting of that project later this month. Expect that, or I'm sorry, in June. So we can expect that construction to begin sometime around August of this year. Landscaping along our portion of LaGrange Road should begin in the next several weeks. We're hopeful that this can come in the beginning of this year, otherwise we have to wait towards the fall, but IDOT has assured us that they will be pushing for landscaping of that area before middle or end of June, when they can't do that any longer. One last thing is, this is the second last meeting of Leanne Fisk as our Parks and Recreation Director. We'll be talking more about Leanne at the next meeting. I just wanted to let everybody know in advance that Leanne is retiring from the industry, moving out of state. We're very saddened, but we're also very excited that we will have a new Recreation Director. He's actually going to start, and so he can start learning what goes on over in the Recreation Department, what happens in our special events here, from not only current staff, but those exiting, including Leanne. I want to just start by thanking Leanne for her years here in Palos Park, what she has meant to the team here, and what she has meant to this community. We'll be grateful forever. Thanks.
More next meeting.
Our next meeting.
And is that all?
That's all.
Excellent. It doesn't look like I have any announcements this evening. So, citizens and visitors comment period. Anyone from the audience like to address the council tonight? Hearing no such request, I would seek a motion to adjourn at this time.
So moved.
Second?
Hearing a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all and good evening.
Safe out there?